Dr. Singer, thank you so much for coming on the show. One of the earliest scenes in the book is an FBI agent going from using very, very small drone technology to actual human interaction where she immediately sizes up a potential adversary. And I know a lot of the people in the CA community are kind of worried about the growth of technology in terms of diminishing the human domain. How do you see the tension between technology and the human domain going forward? And maybe, Duwan, you can jump in and talk about what are the skills of the future in terms of metadata that a CA professional would have to succeed in the next 20 years?
I'll go after you, Peter.
Okay. You've done that a couple of times on me here.
I'll continue.
Yeah. It's interesting because that question hits something that is both a doctrinal question, across the military. It hits economics too, but it's also a larger theme of the book. So every novel's not actually, the plot's not the real theme of it. Moby Dick's not really a story of hunting a whale, right? And what you've put your finger on is this notion of the human-machine relationship or the human-machine teaming, and what flows out from that in terms of everything from what are the different forms of human-machine teaming. And there's lots of different forms that are out there versus the sort of singular way that we think about it in science fiction, but also sometimes that it's talked about in the military community. These different forms of human-machine teaming. In that human-machine teaming, which are roles that the machine can take on increasingly, which are roles that they should take on, which is a different question. What is it that the human, the difference of this technology is that it's also a learning tool. It's not like a shovel or even the keyboards that we use now. It's learning from us. So what are we teaching that machine about the human domain that we talk about, both intentionally and unintentionally? What are we teaching it? But in turn, what do we need to teach ourselves? What are the different skill sets that we need to operate in this new world, including with that machine? And again, that question that you ask is a civil affairs question. It's also a question that we need to ask about our broader education system, right? You also have the final aspects of that, which is what does the relationship between the human and the machine, how does the human relate and think to that technology? And you can think about that again as both the operator, but also the broader populace that they're within. It's sort of the what we're seeing out in the streets right now that a lot of you probably experienced in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. People interact differently to they would often talk about how the Americans look like robots, right? In their, flak vests and the like. Okay. And, we see that militarized version and what it's meant in policing. What does it look like as you actually start to use real robots, right? But then the other part of it is, how does it affect the human's relationship with other humans? And all of these, it was funny, right before this call, I was doing this is my life right now, was with a Hollywood, there's a Hollywood producer type that's like, maybe we want to maybe do it too. And the whole question was, is the genre of the book a techno thriller or is it science fiction? Because everything we just talked about, human machine relationship, all it's very sci-fi Asimov stuff, right? And yet we're talking about it in the here and now. And it's the same thing to your question, to put it bluntly, the military has to figure out all sorts of science fiction questions, much like, 100 years ago, it had to figure out how to use flying machines or, on the Army side, mechanic, horseless carriages, right? That's the similar. So these are some things that hopefully, that theme the book explores.